Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, March 11th, 2015, and this is the Serenova Crafts Podcast. We've made it to episode 10. Yay! If you keep seeing me looking down, it's because the camera's up here and the computer's down here, and I'm just checking out everything looks good. I've actually adjusted the, what is it called? The exposure and the gain this week, because all of a sudden, by adjusting that manually, I'm not pasty white anymore. I'm still a little washed out on this side from the light coming in, but it's not that bad. As you can see, there's a reflection on the poster here of what's going by. Yeah, there's an on-ramp for the highway, like right there. So, I keep seeing cars go by all the time. But so as you can see, I'm in the living room again. I didn't introduce myself. My name is Jessica. I'm your host. I am Serenova on Ravelry and Twitter. I am Serenova_Phoenix on Instagram. And my blog is mindendinglife.wordpress.com. There's no other lights on. I'm going by sheer natural light coming from outside, which because daylight savings time is actually technically an hour earlier than it was last week. So the lighting's a little different, but hopefully it'll get better soon and brighter because we do actually get direct sunlight into our apartment. But anyways, let me check my notes here. Thank you again for everyone. I got some new followers on YouTube. Thank you, you folks. There's like 4 of you, but thank you. Let's see. Yeah, that's about it. No new members in the Ravelry group, which, by the way, that's Serenova Crafts Podcast. It's the Ravelry group. Let's see. It's going to be a fairly short episode this week, though I do have a video to insert later. I'll tell you about that then. Purim was this past Wednesday. I rambled about it for 20 minutes in my last video, but unfortunately, I don't have any of the pictures or any of the video from Sunday at the synagogue because I was using my mom's phone because I forgot my phone and I haven't gotten it off of her phone yet. So next week, I'll show you the Purim stuff because I'm sorry, I just haven't gotten it off my mom's phone. I'm going to see her tomorrow. I'll bring my laptop, get all the videos and the pictures and everything, and that'll be that, and we'll be good. But unfortunately for this week, I don't have anything for you. Though I can check the synagogue's Facebook page to see if there's anything, but probably not, because there weren't that many people taking pictures, and I don't think anyone filmed the whole thing. Which, by the way, our Purim spiel, which we call it a spiel because it's a play the religious school students put on to tell the story of Purim, and this year they spoofed The Lion King. So, but they basically just pulled the Lion King characters and just made them the characters from the Book of Esther. So, Simba was Ahasuerus, Nala was Esther, and Scar was Haman. And the hyenas were the lackeys as usual, and Timon and Pumbaa showed up for like 5 minutes to sing a part of the Hakuna Matata song. But Scar was really funny because he was singing about killing all the Jews because he's Haman, and Haman wants to kill all the Jews in the story, so, but it was to the tune of Be Prepared, which is Scar's song from The Lion King. And so, yeah, it was entertaining, and I'll show you that next week. So you're probably at this point wondering what my shirt says, and the logo probably looks really, really familiar. Now, to get this out of the way, I don't like Coke. And by Coke, I mean the soda, pop, whatever you want to call it, Coca-Cola Coke. I actually don't like it. I don't like Pepsi either or Dr. Pepper. I don't like any of those brown sodas. But this shirt is a souvenir from my first trip to Israel back in 2005, and it says Coca-Cola in Hebrew. And I couldn't walk away. I mean, I don't even like Coca-Cola, but it actually says, it's a little twist. There we go. It says Coca-Cola in Hebrew, so it's Coca-Cola. And yes, it reads from right to left, because it's Hebrew. But anyways, let me straighten out my shirt here. There we go, all set. First things first, I finally got something that's been sitting at my local yarn shop back for like 4 months. So, actually I can check when I made this, because it's in my Ravelry project. So where are you? I finished this cowl in the 1st of October is when I finished this cowl. And, oh, I don't need that anymore. What are you doing? Sorry, my computer's just messaged. So this cowl I finished in October. Now, it's a double-sided cowl. I'll flip it the other way around. But it's not double knit. Because if I fold it over, you can see that the sections are not at the same point in the cowl. See? So this is knit flat, folded in half, and then seamed. So I, let's see. Okay. It's easier if I just put it on and show you. Okay. So I started here. I knit this way. I knit a purl row. And then I knit this way. And then I Kitchenered the, seam. Which, that's a really long, I Kitchenered all of this all the way around. It's a rather long thing to Kitchener. But, since winter's ending, and there goes the iPad. Of course. So since winter's ending and they don't really need this around the yarn shop anymore, I got my sample back. This was a test knit for someone I know. It's a designer. The pattern is called Infinite Triplicate. You can find it in my projects page. Go support the designer. She's a friend of mine. Really cool pattern. Really cool project. It's actually really simple because it's just stocking net. There's a little bit of Fair Isle, but it's not much. Anyways, it's pretty cool. And you can wear it this way. You should be able to double it, but unfortunately, I knit really tightly, so if I double it, it's like tight, you know, like really tight. You can see how tight that is. Oh, and now I have all little wispies in my hair. But I got that back. So that's finished stuff that I got back. I don't even think I showed that on my blog. But let's see. My March socks. I have one sock done. I finished that at my knitting group yesterday morning, so one finished sock. Here you go. Finished sock. And I have the start of a toe. It's not much. It's only a few rows. And everything's tangled. Of course it's tangled. And I apologize for sniffling this morning. I'm really stuffed up. And here is the start of the toe. It's not much yet. I'm working on it. But I got it cast on, so no second sock syndrome for me. I did cast on the test knit for Lisa, who is Fiber Nymph, who is the 90% Knitting podcast. I'm just going to show it to you. I'm not going to say anything about the pattern. I'm just going to be like, wee, big gray thing, gray blob, that's a cowl. Wee, see, it's a cowl. I tried magic looping this, but it didn't work because I didn't have a 40-inch needle. I was using a 32-inch. And it wasn't, so the 32-inch wasn't long enough to magic loop, but it wasn't short enough to get all the way around. So I just kind of bought a needle of the proper length. My catkin has seen some progress, not much, but some. Reaching over to grab it here. Don't need that anymore. So I finished the first part, and I began the second part, but you can't really see it yet because I've only done like 4 rows in part 2. But as you can see here, it's tangled. Everything is tangled this morning. What is up with that? Here's it actually right side up, because like this here is the top edge. So it actually goes like this. As you can see, I've started the second part down the bottom there, but there's not much to it. But the first part ends with the green. Ends with this green here. So that's that. Okay. So that was my catkin. I know, like I said, I started on part 2, but very minimally worked on it. The last thing is, I know I was talking about my doing an Inspire cowl, and I know, like, the weather's warming up. It's supposed to be, by the way, it's supposed to be 52 degrees here in New Hampshire today, which, considering it was in the negatives last week, is like, oh my god, it's so warm. But it's not really that warm in the grand scheme of things, but still. It's going to feel really warm, and I'm probably going to open the slider to get some fresh air in this apartment because it's been closed up for months. But anyways, I'm sure you folks remember this yarn that I was going to use for the Inspire cowl. Well, after consulting with all the ladies at Friday Night Knitting, and the owner of the yarn shop and people who were good on color, the consensus was this to go with it. Now, this doesn't look nearly orange enough. It's actually, there we go. That's actually deep there. There we go. The camera's focused. So that's the color. As you can see by the tag, it's Sweet Georgia. And it's Tough Love Sock, which is 80% superwash merino wool and 20% nylon. And it's 425 yards per 4 ounces. And this is the color Ginger. So if I get it too close to the camera, it washes up. But right there, that's a really good representation of the color right there. That's really good. So these are going to go together to make it Inspira. And I think it's going to be really cool. For some reason, if my red shirt is in the picture, it does the colors right. But if my red shirt isn't in the picture, it doesn't do the colors right. Go figure. That's what I get for fiddling with my camera settings. But I wanted you to be able to actually see my face, not like just see white. So, you know. Expression and seeing somebody's face and not being washed out is always a good thing. So, though I know my shirt looks a little funky, but I'm just living with it. Is there anything else? Yes, there is. Like I said at the beginning, there's a little video I want to insert, and it's because I got my Treadle sewing machine back. I had purchased this New Year's Eve day. And the reason I even was in the antique shop was because I'd gone to a local yarn shop, and in the same plaza, there was this antique shop, which I had never ever been in before in my life. Actually, no, I bought this December 30th. So I bought this December 30th. I dropped it off to be fixed on New Year's Eve day. And I was just wandering around the antique shop. There was actually a lot of cool stuff in there. You know, World War II memorabilia, World War I memorabilia, plates that look like what my grandmother's still using, clothing, records, clocks. I mean, it's an antique shop, you know, a little bit of everything. I did see some really cool Chinese teapots, but I didn't get any. But, I mean, they were actually, like, pretty expensive. So finally I went downstairs, which is where, like, they have, like, the bigger stuff, like the furniture. And this sewing machine was sitting there. And it was $50, and I was hemming and hawing. And I was talking to one of the employees, and he went, you know, that's actually 50% off, so it's $25. And I went, huh. Because, I mean, $25? Really? Like, really? So I was talking to him some more, and he's like, yeah, people buy them, and they take them apart, and they use the legs as, like, table stands. And he must have seen the look on my face, because I was like, you know, like, what? It's a perfectly usable, like, what? Literally, the only thing wrong with this machine was that the drive band had broke. But it's a leather drive band. Those dry out after a few years, and you just need a new one anyway. So, like, if that's the only thing wrong with it, like, fully functioning. And there's the cat. There's Koki. She's come to visit. There she is. There's my girl. Anyways, back to the sewing machine. It's like pull her tail and she almost falls off the couch. I didn't pull it that hard. Don't worry. I'm not hurting my cat. It was just a gentle tug. But anyways, what? You gonna be a distraction? I think she's gonna be a distraction. You can feel free to watch the cat in the background while I talk. So the guy must see my expression. So I went upstairs and I went, can I just get this? And they're like, yeah, sure. What are you gonna use it for? I'm like, as a sewing machine? And the antique people kind of just laughed. Yes, pretty girl? They just kind of laughed because they're like, wait, you actually wanted a sewing machine? I'm like, well, yeah. So I called my dad because he has an SUV. And the next day, he and I went to go pick it up. And I took it downtown to a sew-and-vac place where all they fix is sewing machines and vacuum cleaners. I'm moving the mouse so that the cat doesn't, you know, accidentally stop the video or anything because she's right there. Can't see. There she is. There's my Koki. She's showing her butt to the camera, which is not good. Get your butt out of frame. Come on. Let's see your pretty face. Look, see that pretty face. Boop. She's like, you're on the couch. Pay attention to me. So I brought it over, and I didn't hear anything from them for ages. I figured they were swamped because of Christmas and New Year's and stuff. And so at the end of January, I gave them a call, and they're like, yeah, we'll get to it. We're still, you know, really super busy. And then I called them again in February. Yeah, we'll get to it. I called them the last week of February. We'll have it done this week. So it wasn't done that week. It was done the next week. But still, they finished it. And she's just sitting here in my lap. I'm going to hold you up to the camera, you know. See, there she is. There's my cute girl. Look at that cute little brown on your nose. Yeah. She's not happy I did that. But she's still here. She didn't go anywhere. Kitty. Sorry, I'm a horrible cat person. So I got the call last week, a week ago actually, on Wednesday, that it was ready to be picked up. Now, I couldn't get it until Saturday because I work, my mom works, my dad works. Like, nobody would have had a car available or anything during the hours the shop is open until the weekend. So I called them and I'm like, hey, can I pick it up on Saturday? They're like, yeah, sure, fine, no problem. So my mom and I go on Saturday and we arrive in separate cars because we're living in different locations. We arrive there together and we think that it'll fit in her car's, either her backseat or her trunk. It fits in neither, which is really ironic because my mom has a gold 1993 Chrysler Fifth Avenue. Insert picture here. Yeah, so that's my mom's car. So I'm like, well, what about my trunk? I think my trunk is deeper because her trunk actually is fairly shallow. It's not really deep. But the car that size, you would think, but But so then I measure my trunk because I'm the kind of person that keeps a measuring tape in my purse because knitting. And my trunk has a full 2 inches depth on her trunk. So the machine fits in my trunk. So it's completely pointless for my mom to have come. So we get the machine in my car. They managed to tie my trunk lid shut because it won't actually like close all the way with the machine in it. And so then I head back to my boyfriend and I's apartment. Now, he's still asleep because it's like 9 o'clock in the morning. And I have to wake him up and get him to help me to get this in because A, it's a piece of furniture. I can't move it on my own. And B, we live in a second-story apartment with no elevator. So even though it is on wheels and I technically could have gotten it to the door of the building, I couldn't have gotten it up the stairs by myself. And my mom can't carry it because she has shoulder issues and it's not a thing. So we finally get it in, and then my mom and I go off to the expo. But the video I wanted to put in is going to be here, well, after I do this introduction, and it is showing you folks my sewing machine. So here it is. Enjoy! Hey everyone, I'm sure I've talked about this on the podcast, but I just want to do a quick video showing you my Treadle sewing machine. I know it doesn't look like much now. Okay, let me get the wood glue off of there, because it still needs a couple of repairs. But, so here it is. You can see it says Singer. There's the Treadle. I had to get this replaced. It's loose now because to fold the sewing machine down, you actually need to unhook it from the wheel here that turns, from this wheel here that turns when you step on the treadle, to actually fold it down because it's tight under pressure, which is how the machine moves. So as you can see, I got drawers here. It actually came with like a light. It came with a light, but it was a really old one. So the place I took it to gave me a nice new one that screws onto the machine when I'm using it, but I can't keep the light on it while it's folded in because it doesn't quite work. But it came with like all these little bits and bobs. So I have, God, why can't I think? A bobbin. It actually has some green thread on it. There's, you know, old light bulbs. Anybody remember these from like old Christmas? Older than I am Christmas. There's buttons and other stuff, and there's pins. Because I just bought it as is from the place. Nothing really in this drawer except for some old tape. By the way, this place is where I got it fixed, and they're like really good. You gonna focus? Focus. Nope. It's never sewing back. And I dropped it off at the end of December, but I'm really happy to get it back. Let's see. This drawer I have to do this because it doesn't have a pull, but you know, there wasn't much in this drawer. But here it is. So the reason I need to glue the machine is because when I open the top here, you can see that this part it's peeling. The veneer, the wood veneer is peeling. So I need to get a piece of like plywood to put down on it so that I can glue underneath and then weight it down. But let's see if I can do this one-handed. Here it is in all its glory. The Singer name on it is a little worn. Ow, I just stabbed myself with the spool there. I just poked myself with the arm with that thing. So here it is. It is a Singer Model 66. This is from the people at the at Neverett's that fixed it. But it's really cool. You can see there's all the gold leafing and the designs. There we go. I got to focus. Hi, Cookie. Yeah, she's wondering what I'm doing. Hi, pretty girl. There you go. Now you're in focus. I fed you. Be quiet. You know, and you can see all the, it's not focusing. I'm trying to get it to focus because I'm using my phone here. You can see it says Singer. Doesn't help that I got the lighting behind me. All the mechanisms here. The end plate is really cool. Look at this. I'm just so chuffed about this whole thing. I am absolutely in love with it. They gave me a nice new needle. You know, and it's got the foot plate underneath and everything. But I figured out it's a Model 66 because of the size of the base. Now, the only difference between the Model 66 and the Model 99 is the size of the base. One is a 14-inch base, one is a 10-inch base. This is the 14, so thus, by process of elimination, as you can see, there's even, like, gold, you know, filigree all around here, though it's been worn off over the years. And on the back, where the old light was attached, is here. The new light attaches here, because this plate screws off. Sorry, I'm doing this at a really odd angle. But see, it screws off, and you can actually see the internals of the machine there. It's a little rusty, but, you know, for something that's, you know, 90-some-odd years old, or, you know, slightly younger, it's probably in its late 80s, early 90s, it's still in really good shape. So I'm really happy about the whole thing, and I'm just really excited. So, there's my sewing machine! Alright, now that you've watched me ramble about my sewing machine for like 3 minutes, the Women's Expo, which is the last thing I'm going to talk about, and then this is going to be over. This show isn't going to be as long as the last week's show, but, you know, it's not going to be that bad. So the Women's Expo. My mom and I went with a friend of my mom's named Leanne, and it was in Manchester, which is like, you know, 20 minutes from Nashua, so it wasn't that bad. And it was basically like for women, by women. So businesses that catered to women or were run by women. Like there was a Mary Kay booth, you know, because Mary Kay is all about all that stuff. I'm not into makeup, but whatever. You know, there was retirement. There was AAA. It was basically just like a big like business thing get together. It was hosted by a local radio station. But, you know, they had a stage where they were doing stuff, and there was Medium and some guy who was one of the trainers from The Biggest Loser. I don't know who he is because I don't watch that show. A bunch of other stuff. Some woman who used to be the CEO of HP, and by HP I mean Hewlett Packard. Not Hit Points. So yeah, it was fun. It was a long day though, even though we weren't there for the full expo, because it was big, it was crowded. It was a strain on the senses, but I did make a couple of purchases, which I thought I would share with you. I got some jewelry and some wine. Good combination, right? So I got some Celtic tree jewelry. So here's the earrings, which you cannot see. There we go. See? They're studs. Because I don't like danglies, because with all my hair, it just is a little crazy if I wear my hair down. And here's a matching ring. I didn't get a pendant because they were all like really big and I can't wear big pendants, but here's the ring. If it'll focus on the ring and not my fingers. Oh my god. You get the idea. You get the idea. So I got that, and then there was actually a whole aisle of the expo devoted to local wineries. All of them from New Hampshire. So that wasn't necessarily a women's thing, but I guess the stereotype women like wine, and so there was that. But I did buy a bottle of wine. And it is from the Flag Hill Winery in Lee, New Hampshire, and it's called Cayuga White. And I'm partial to white wines. And it says floral, apple, honey, and peach aromas with a crisp body and tingling sweet lemon and green apple finish. I tried it. I liked it. It was sampling. It was really funny because, like, the woman at the entrance, like, almost didn't think I was old enough. And I'm like, I'm 27. Like, she's like, because a lot of people think I don't look it. And so, you know, what can you do? But I have my driver's license and that proves my age, so yay. But I think that wraps up our show. I don't have anything else in my notes, which is what I was just looking at. You guys got to see the cat, which is always good. I think I'm gonna change the video settings for next week because they're still a little wonky, but they're better. Hopefully I'll have more sun next week too, which will help, but you know, you never know. But yeah, I think that's it. So thank you guys for watching. All my info's here. I'll have to use a different color than red because I'm wearing a red shirt this week. So feel free to like this video, subscribe, join the Ravelry group, subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Twitter or Instagram. You can also friend me on Ravelry. That's actually totally cool. As long as you tell me, like, say, hey, I watched your podcast. I wanted to friend you. Then I know who you are. It's not just like some random thing. But other than that, yeah, I think that's it. So let me grab my mouse. I'll see you next week. Bye.